Hey friends, it's Sky. Yes, my internet name is a Winx character name. Come on, I'm him, kinda. And my cat's name is literally Icy. So, today it's time to talk about Fate, the Winx Saga Season 2. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to join my Winx Club fan cult to get your So, Winx Club. If you aren't familiar with it, it's an Italian cartoon show that aired in the early 2000s. I grew up with the early seasons, but if you know only the kitschy version after season 3, my condolences. Because the show originally wasn't what they made it into.
Get off, you stupid banana!
It all starts on Earth. The main character, Bloom, who's 16, lives a normal human life. Until she doesn't. One day she decides to go to the park where she experiences an extraordinary fight of the fairy Stella and other creatures. Bloom's fear triggers her magical power and she finds out she was never a human. After that she follows Stella into this magical universe where the show is set, inhabited by fairies, witches and other mythical creatures. There she attends Alfea, school for fairies, where she meets Flora, Musa, Tecna, and in season 2 Aisha. We also have a separate school for the boys and the iconic Cloud Tower, living dark creature that's also a school for the witches. The witches who weren't even in Fate, even though they're like 60% of the OG show's life. Oh, and there were neither Tecna or Timmy.
Look who's here! Care to tell us where you two have been hiding?
While characters are living their teenage years and going to school, they are, but mainly Bloom, discovering themselves and their past.
It's the archives! Who knows what's in these books? Let's see.
Someone has set foot in the archives room. Let's see who it is.
In order to do so and go on, they have to go through endless challenges from the enemies. So Trix, Darkar or Phoenix, Valtor, Wizards of the Black Circle.
Leave them to me! And now prepare for the worst! Let's get out of here, girls!
And later, bananas.
Get off, you stupid banana!
Watch my life mission to be creating better seasons after season 3 as the original fan. But the show which gave all the color to my child self was then recreated by Netflix, and in 2021 we got it. It's called If Pretty Little Liars Went to Hogwarts in TVD/Twilight style. Oh wait, no, Fate, the Winx Saga. Just a disclaimer, before the opposite demographic directly goes into my comment section, I used the wrong word. Recreate is not accurate. Fate, the Winx Saga is inspired by Winx Club. The Winx concept was taken. This video is only a comparison between Winx and Fate. I realize that there's many things which go on behind the show's creation, such as Netflix budget, which I don't claim to know, different contracts and copyright linked to the original Winx Club, etc. So every time you hear the word recreate, please hear it as concept being taken. I'm just discussing the problem I personally have with this concept being taken, why does it bother me, and what I would have done differently. I'm entitled to my opinions and you to yours, thanks. And obviously spoilers. So this live version that killed my inner child really is something. Look, I know that when you recreate a show, it's not supposed to be identical or realistic regarding magic and similar things, but Netflix didn't even try at all. Let's start with the characters. Bloom is the main character, inspired by Britney Spears. and was played by this girl. Okay, good, pretty, not gonna lie. But why did they make her so unlikable? Why does she drug another character and lets him alone outside while passed out? And why does she burn her house and nearly kills her step-parents? Just so random and unnecessary. Then we have Musa, inspired by Lucy Liu for the original show and in Fate played by her. And this is where it all starts falling apart. They really picked a white girl for Musa, who was originally Chinese,
We have a problem.
and then put an eyeliner on her.
Not anymore.
Like, okay. Also, Musa's superpower used to be music, and in Fate it's a power of minds and sympathizing. Her name is literally Musa, as in music. Again, so random. Then we have Flora, Latina, inspired by J-Lo and played by her. Okay, technically it's Flora's cousin, Tara, but I don't understand this body diversity, aka Tara representing overweight girls, but we literally have a white girl playing Musa. Netflix really said diversity, but not too much. Again, the character is just really stereotyped. Okay, so just because she's fat, she has to be this poor bullied kid with some defensive activist side. It's kinda accurate regarding real life, but it has nothing to do with Winx Club. Just random and unnecessary, in my opinion. Some people may think it's cool, but I don't know, I just don't get it. Then we have Aisha, played by this girl, which is honestly okay. Aisha does remind me of Y2K Rihanna, but I doubt she's inspired by her since Rihanna came on the scene later. But again, completely changing the character. Aisha was super sporty, badass, independent, and was stereotyped in this motherly teacher's pet black girl by Netflix. Again, random and unnecessary. And oh my god, Stella. What did they do to my girl Stella? She's originally the representation of the fun, bubbly, friendly, and fashionable blondie. But Netflix made her into this stereotypical hot blonde mean girl for no reason. Stella wasn't mean, she just didn't know when to shut up.
What are you even wearing, girl?
Say what? Balenciaga hasn't even released his clothing line yet.
Stella, shut up.
Oh, and in Fate she also wasn't stylish. Why does she look like a 35-year-old evil stepmom, wannabe 20, with all the Y2K fashion that returned? And not only that, but it's so much more customizable for different body types these days, and it's easier to find cool items. Netflix had it all on the golden plate and refused to even smell it. Look what they made the characters wear versus what characters actually wore. Just imagine dressing them into these types of clothes in Y2K style, but maybe a bit more comfortable to wear with Netflix budget, but no. Also, why is Stella dating Sky? In original series, Stella dated Brandon and Bloom dated Sky. The only correlation that was is that Brandon pretended to be Sky and she dated Sky who was Brandon. But it's not the same, and Sky was at first supposed to marry this entitled character Diaspro. Netflix really mixed Stella with Diaspro. Not only that they left out the important Winx characters, whitewashed half of them, changed their whole personalities based on the stereotypes and dressed them in whatever this is. They also didn't even include Trix in the show, who made the cartoon so iconic, dark and mysterious. While Winx Club was originally this colorful, super fun show, they made Fate, the live version, into this dusty, too dark, in a dull way, horror series. But it wasn't even scary, they just added so much unnecessary dead bodies, always showing scenes where someone is bleeding, but not giving any context. I don't know, just some like Disney version of a horror movie. This awful dark green / blue Twilight filter made it so hard to watch. Alfea in the cartoon was this. But in the show, it was like a graveyard if that was a building. when instead they could just not put this dark filter over everything. I'm not even saying everything should be green screen. Just film on a sunny day and make Alfea something like this. It's a fairy school. The characters also act in this wannabe edgy way, but not how we experience teenage years in real life, but how our grandparents think us young adults act. They aren't even edgy, they just throw these words into it like drugs, weed. It's so out of place and random, along with mentioning sexualities. I get that it's 2022 now, but why can't a guy just kind of flirt with another guy? Like, why do we have to mention the word gay every now and then to make it obvious that he's gay? In my opinion, unnecessary. And this random activism where Beatrix, who was representing the Trix, I guess, who was also randomly a murderer, by the way, so she randomly throws a word pedo to her teacher just for the sake of it, and someone at some point uses words unstable. Like, how is this Winx Club? It's not even something a teenager would say on a daily basis. Brian Young, the producer of Fate, do you even know what does it mean to be young? It's in your last name, for fuck's sake. Not to mention the excessive usage of social media. Why? Just why? And again, the word throwing when characters randomly say Snapchat, Tumblr. It doesn't make it relatable and especially not fun. You have no idea how depressing the script writing was for me. Still more exciting than actually watching the show. Drop a like and comment to help me out. And then the way how this random middle-aged woman FaceTimed Alfea's teachers while she was being attacked or murdered. FaceTimed. What was that, Netflix? Imagine just focusing on the story without giving such an emphasis that the characters are Gen Z. There was also like mentioning multiple times that they are generation 2004. Like, why so many of this emphasis? Unnecessary. Imagine incorporating Y2K fashion, Y2K cell phones, using the original series soundtracks that were amazing, by the way. Imagine if they put some 90s screen filter on with a bit of sparkles on the fairies at the darker scenes. And they could also like put some earrings on them. We got a Disney Channel horror movie. Even if the show was technological, it could be in a way of what Y2K considered futuristic. Everyone was just so dull, moody, miserable, and serious all the time. And just the amount of dead bodies in the very beginning. In the beginning of first episode. Like, instead of this, they should first have the witches in the show, and second, dress them into alternative ways like grungy or gothic, with all the fashion that exists right now. I'm not even some type of fashion guru. I just see that this could be worked with. It would have been spooky but fun at the same time. The rooms were also extremely dull, when in the cartoon they looked like this. I would personally use something like this in the Fate. Even the witch's room in the cartoon were dark, but still cool and mysterious at the same time, not boring. Modern and dark doesn't equal boring. And why would anyone consider to make a fairy show boring? And dress actual fairies into this? Oh, so just because Bloom is a fire fairy, she has to constantly wear all red? And just because Aisha is a water fairy, she has to wear all blue all the time. And poor Stella, oh my god, I actually feel bad for the actors. At least they got paid. And why does Alfea's principal look like my English teacher and dies in this almost funny way?
The rest of the world might believe it. And if they don't, what the fuck are they gonna do about it?
Why does she die, and why so quickly? After manipulating Bloom through the whole season, when in the cartoon she was like a godmother to her. Literal fairy godmother. Because she's a fairy in a fairy show. Bloom is just trying so hard to be the main character instead of just being one. The lines are just so forced, while in the cartoon we had actual small talk that teenagers have in real life. It wasn't necessarily the coolest, it could be cringy even, but in a likable, chill way that I now find funnier than when I was a child. All I wanted was to see teenage life I imagined as a child, aka cooler than it actually is, plus this mixed with magic and just the whole 90s or Y2K aesthetic vibe. Like, why does this random Slovenian 90s music video looks more like Winx than the actual live action Winx? Before I get into season 2, can we just appreciate these Asian girls who could easily play Musa? This is kinda unrealistic in this situation, but just imagine young Angelina Jolie playing Aisha or younger Eiza Gonzalez playing Stella. Literally a perfect match. I like the actress that played Stella, but since Stella had brown eyes, I'd find it better if we got a brown-eyed blondie instead of stereotyped basic Barbie vibe, but that's just me, just my opinion. The most awkward actor is the one who plays Sky. That's the one thing I appreciate about Faye. Plus, maybe the underground halls and the scene when Bloom visits home, but that's it. So now let's get into season 2. And as a creator with less than 600 subscribers, I'd appreciate if you gave this video a like if you liked it so far, to help me with the algorithm because it doesn't do me good in the past year. Where do I even start? Some aspects are a bit better. Oh, and Tara is gay. I'm sorry, like, it's not funny that she's gay, but it's just funny that Netflix is doing so much to satisfy Gen Z, but we're literally asking for the exact opposite. At least us older Gen Z. Okay, so we at least got Flora that is actually Latina. I think that the actress is Paulina Sanchez or something like that. But the personality again doesn't really match the cartoon Flora. We're used to it by now. So yeah, Flora is Latina. Musa is still white though. Stella is acting nice. That's more accurate. And she has short hair, of course. Cutting her hair equals character development. Duh. She looks cute though. But our former fashion icon is literally wearing Crocs. Oh, I'm sorry, off-brand Crocs. As if such a thing exists. Fashion is still really bad, by the way. We still have that dark blue/green filter, you know, Twilight, Riverdale. In the first minute of the first episode, some girl gets stabbed and dies. But we don't get any context or the character's backstory, so we can't really feel bad for her. It's just so random. I don't know, mood is still pretty dull. But since we have Flora and Bloom and Sky are officially dating, it does feel a bit more like a Winx Club. The group feels like a friend group, and since Stella is nice. And I like that Bloom and Sky don't act like these classmates that have love and hate relationship as they did in season 1, even though in the actual cartoon they did have a pretty lame relationship. I know I'm Sky, I know I'm waiting for my Bloom, but Stella and Brandon had the best relationship in my opinion. Stella is still 35, Musa is still white as I mentioned, Tara is still fat. I'm sorry, you knew how this sentence will end. Don't come at me for thinking the same thing as you. If you're easily offended, just get out. Oh, and they are apparently degraded into humans. That Faragonda's substitute stabs Stella with a magical object, and then Stella is okay and the substitute is walking around as if nothing happened. We have an episode that is all about this threesome, and my childhood show is officially turned into soft gay. Thanks Netflix, no comment. The show is still dark even though we have some better magic effects. It doesn't help because the background music behind these effects, it's like a YouTube non-copyright remix or a horror sound effect. It's just not giving fairies, you know. This remix music is also in the background of the final transformation. That was so disappointing. I mean, I'm not surprised though. They literally didn't even change the girls' outfits for the final transformation. I mean, it's just extremely lazy. At some points I just asked myself if the producers or like the directors or writers or anyone actually went on YouTube and saw like their reactions and what people think, because it's just lazy. It's still giving 28-year-old detectives, not 16-year-old fairies. I just love that they picked nearly 30-year-old actors for the roles and then proceeded to put such an emphasis that they are generation 2004. Like they mentioned this in first season. Good job, Netflix. Okay, no, but why is this literally PLL? Like Pretty Little Liars. It would actually make a lot of sense if Alfea was dark because Faragonda was killed and replaced by her killer, Rosalind. But it was also dark when Farah was the principal. So here goes my whole theory. Oh, and then Bloom becomes a murderer of Farah's killer, Rosalind. A murderer. Like, why is everyone murderers in this series? Imagine if YouTube age restricts this video because of this word. It's just not Winx, and we still don't have Tecna. Tecna is actually so underrated character. Like, no one ever liked Tecna. Even the creators, like, she literally got a triangle instead of wings. Then Farah magically returns, but I like that she's more motherly towards Bloom than in the first season. But it's just the bare minimum, you know? Musa wants to become a specialist. Why? I don't know. I think it's again to satisfy Gen Z, you know, like equality. But Musa's femininity in the cartoon actually progressed. Like, she started as a tomboy and then she got like more girly, and in this series it's like from a tomboy to a specialist. Like, I don't know, like I mean, I have nothing against it, but it's just so random in my opinion. Flora is also this kind of badass, outgoing girl. Like, I have this type of vibe from her, where in the cartoon she was the girl that's so nice, that's almost annoying, you know, annoyingly sweet. Maybe she's the same in Fate as in the cartoon, and I just had this feeling because I'm used to my native translated Flora having just that obnoxious voice.
Kar ne morem verjeti! Nisem si mislila, da mi boste sledile sam!
Ja, jaz tudi ne! Nismo mogli dovoliti, da se sama potikaš po močvirju.
Včasih se malo jezijo nate, ampak vseeno te imajo radi.
I swear, it was so annoying, but I like Slovenian Winx, I really do. Just Flora, the voice. No, I don't. Back to Fate. So, Bloom turns out to be 1000 years old. Sebastian, who's supposed to be the main villain of the season 2, just doesn't give villain vibes in my opinion. Where are the costumes? Remember Valtor? Yeah, like, not to on the actor, like, I have respect towards all these actors. I'm just talking about Fate as a show in general, but the actor just gives me like high school teacher, math teacher that's bullied by his students. I mean, he could be a cool villain, but like add something like a costume, an eyeliner, like, you know, that villain, like smudgy, smoky eye, you know, like Valtor had. But no, like everything is just so poorly done and lazy. Not everything, like not everything is poorly done. I obviously acknowledge that they did put an effort into the series as the series, but just not in a Winx style, which is why I don't like this series as much. If it wasn't titled Winx and it would be a random show, I'd be like, okay. Ooh, my notes. I would be like, okay, but then Beatrix the witch dies in a matter of a second because this Sebastian just poofs the spell on her and she just doos and dies, and it's just so quick. The thing that blows my mind is that today's kids who actually like Fate will look at it in like 5-10 years and find it nostalgic, and it's just so sad to me because they will never know how it is to grow up in Y2K with the early Winx seasons. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video. I know there will be many kids attacking me on this video, like, Fate is good, you're such a, I don't know. But like, for all of you that agree with me, like, you know who you are. I've seen you on YouTube and your comments. I actually started making this video like weeks before season 2 even arrived, so I could put it out as quick as I can. I really worked on this video, so if you liked it, I would really appreciate if you give it a thumbs up and if you comment on it, and even if you didn't like it, you can still comment on it, like, do not agree with me. Okay, thank you so much for watching. Sky loves you, God bless you, and I can't wait to interact with you on this platform. Bye bye. Why is this so put on? It's like, okay, so anyways, bye bye.